You are here because quitting is your pattern. You start strong, then you fade. You get excited, then you disappear. This audiobook is not motivation. This is training. Mental toughness is the ability to do what you said you would do, long after the feeling has left you. It is the skill of moving forward when you are tired, scared, stressed, ignored, embarrassed, or alone. In the next hours you will build one thing: the inner grit to keep going when every part of you wants to stop. You will learn to execute on command, not on motivation. From this moment on, your new rule is simple: you don't stop because you feel like it, you stop because the mission is complete. Chapter 1. Stop waiting to feel ready. You have been lied to about readiness. You were taught that one day you will feel ready. You were taught that there will be a moment where fear disappears, doubt vanishes, and suddenly you become the kind of person who just acts. That day is not coming. You have a choice: keep waiting for a feeling that never arrives, or move without it. That's the key. Readiness is a lie your comfort uses to delay your life. Your comfort wants more time, more planning, more research, more thinking. Anything but movement. Look at the people you admire. The athlete who stepped into their first competition. The entrepreneur who launched their first product. The soldier who went into combat. The single parent who took on a second job just to keep the lights on. None of them felt ready. They were afraid. They were unsure. They were underqualified on paper. They moved anyway. Ready or not, move. That's the rule. That's the muscle you are here to build. You think readiness is a feeling. It's not. Readiness is a skill created by repetition. You don't get ready, then act. You act, then become ready. The first time you drive a car, you aren't ready. The first time you speak in public, you aren't ready. The first time you raise your hand, launch your project, ask for the promotion, walk into the gym, you aren't ready. But you do it. You shake. You stumble. You survive. You adapt. You adjust. That is how readiness is built. Through exposure. Through movement. Through doing it badly before you can do it well. You have a choice every single day. Wait until you feel like the right person. Or become the right person by doing what scares you. You don't need their permission. You don't need your parents' permission. You don't need your friends' permission. You don't need social media's permission. You don't even need your own feelings' permission. It's not about confidence. It's about discipline. It's not about feeling brave. It's about being obedient to your standards. Ready or not, move. Say it to yourself. Out loud. Ready or not, move. Now understand this. The longer you wait, the weaker you become. Hesitation is not neutral. Every time you hesitate, you rehearse fear. You practice doubt. You strengthen the pathway in your brain that says, I don't act when I'm uncomfortable. You tell yourself, I'll send that email tomorrow. One email. Simple. You push it to the next day. Then another day. Then a week. Notice what happens. The email becomes bigger in your mind. You start imagining outcomes. You start imagining judgment. You start imagining disaster. Nothing changed about the email. What changed was your brain. Hesitation added weight. Delay added fear. Every time you pause, fear grows. Every time you move, fear shrinks. That is not just motivation. That is how your nervous system works. Avoidance teaches your brain that the thing you avoid is dangerous. Action teaches your brain that the thing you face is survivable. You are training your brain every time you choose. You have a choice. You can keep telling your brain, this is scary, we run. Or you can start telling your brain, this is scary, we move. Look at your life. Look at the messages you haven't answered. The opportunities you didn't apply for. The gym sessions you skipped. The projects you kept thinking about. Each one started small, but every pause made them feel heavier. Every delay turned a simple step into a mental mountain. Every time you pause, fear grows. Every time you move, fear shrinks. Repeat it until it's automatic. because that is the law. You are not stuck because the path is complicated. You are stuck because you negotiate with hesitation. You keep thinking about it. You keep talking about it. You keep asking people what they think. You don't need their permission. You don't need more opinions. You don't need a perfect plan. You need one thing: movement. It's not about being perfectly prepared. It's about being brutally consistent. That's the key. So here is the shift. You must replace "I'll start when" with "I start now." Listen to your own language. I'll start when I feel more confident. I'll start when I have more money. I'll start when I have more time. I'll start when it's the right moment. Those sentences are cages. They look reasonable. They sound adult. They feel safe. They are how you justify staying exactly where you are. From now on, they become your trigger. The moment you hear yourself say, "I'll start when," you act. Within 5 seconds, you take one concrete step. Not tomorrow. Not later. Now. 5 seconds. That's your window before your brain talks you out of it. You have a choice. Obey the fear or obey the rule. You open the laptop. You write the first sentence. You send the message. You put on your shoes. You walk into the gym. You pick up the phone. It does not have to be big. In fact, it should be small. So small you can't justify not doing it. Start small, start sloppy, start scared, but start now. That's the key. You don't need to write the whole book today. You write one paragraph. You don't need to run 10 miles. You walk for 10 minutes. You don't need to build the whole business. You register the name, send the first email, make the first offer. Start small, start sloppy, start scared, but start now. It's not about perfection. It's about discipline. Discipline is doing the small thing now instead of promising the big thing someday. Discipline is starting in fear instead of waiting for courage. Discipline is moving with doubt instead of waiting for certainty. You have a choice. You can keep building a life of almost started, almost finished, almost committed. Or you can become the person who acts. Quickly. Imperfectly. Consistently. Mental toughness does not begin at the finish line. Mental toughness begins at the first step. At the moment you least feel like starting. At the moment everything in you wants to delay. That's the moment that defines you. Not the day you are proud. The day you are afraid and you move anyway. Ready or not, move. Every time you pause, fear grows. Every time you move, fear shrinks. Start small, start sloppy, start scared, but start now. This is how you stop waiting to feel ready. This is how you train your mind to obey your decisions, not your emotions. This is the foundation of mental toughness. You act first, feelings follow. You don't need to feel like a tough person to act like a tough person. You don't need to feel like a disciplined person to act with discipline. You act first. Identity catches up. You have a choice right now, after this chapter ends. You can close this and go back to waiting. Or you can pick one thing you've been delaying and take one step within the next 5 minutes. That is how this becomes real. Not by understanding it. By doing it. You just learn to stop waiting to feel ready. You learn to move before you feel prepared, to break hesitation, to start now. That is the first pillar of mental toughness. You master the first moment, the start. Now we go deeper. You don't just wait to feel ready, you also wait to feel motivated. And that is another trap. Chapter 2. Motivation is lying to you. In the last chapter, you learned to stop waiting to feel ready. Now you need to stop waiting to feel motivated. You think your problem is low motivation. You say, if I was more motivated, I'd be in shape. If I was more motivated, I'd start that business. If I was more motivated, I'd be disciplined. No, that's the lie. Your problem is not motivation. Your problem is dependence on motivation. You have a choice: build a life based on moods, or build a life based on standards. That's the key. Motivation is a mood, not a method. It spikes. It crashes. It's influenced by how much you slept, what you ate, the weather, your hormones, one comment from a stranger. And you're trying to build your life on that? Look at the January gym crowd. On January 1st, the gym is packed. New outfits, new shoes, new journals. Everyone is motivated. Go back in February. Half of them are gone. By March, most are gone. Did they all suddenly get busy? No. Their motivation died. Their emotions cooled. Because their plan was built on a feeling. Emotion-based plans die quickly. You'll go when you feel like it. You'll work when inspiration hits. You'll eat clean when you're in the mood. You know how that ends. You've lived that cycle for years. Motivation is a mood, not a method. If you build on it, your life will be unstable. Up and down. On and off. All or nothing. You don't need their permission. You don't need the internet to hype you. You don't need the perfect song, the perfect quote, the perfect morning. You need structure. You need discipline. It's not about low motivation. It's about low discipline. It's not about your energy. It's about your systems. That's the key. Professionals understand this. Professionals do not wait for motivation. Professionals run on systems, not feelings. A professional athlete does not ask, "Do I feel like training today?" A soldier does not ask, "Do I feel like showing up today?" A surgeon does not say, "I'll operate when I'm in the mood." They have a schedule. They have a standard. They have a code. And they follow it. Tired or not. Happy or not. Motivated or not. Motivation is optional. Execution is not. Let that sink in. They show up because it's time to show up. They do the work because it's time to do the work. Their feelings are secondary. Their system is primary. Now look at the amateur. Maybe that's you right now. The amateur waits. Waits to feel productive. Waits to feel creative. Waits for the right vibe. The amateur checks social media for inspiration. Watches a motivational clip. Feels a little spark. Then works for 20 minutes. Tomorrow, no spark, no work. That is why the gap between you and the people you admire keeps growing. It's not about talent. It's not about luck. It's about systems. Motivation is optional. Execution is not. Say it out loud. The professional doesn't care if they slept badly. They adjust, but they still train. The professional doesn't care if they feel off. They still hit the minimum work. You have a choice. You can keep living like an amateur who serves their feelings. Or you can become a professional in your own life. Not in title. In behavior. You don't need the world's permission to act like a professional. You don't need a contract. You don't need a rank. You decide. You shift from "I'll work when I feel like it" to "I work because it's who I am." That's the key. Identity over emotion. System over mood. So how do you do it? You build a life where your plans don't care how you feel. This is where most people run. They want the rush of motivation, not the weight of responsibility. But you're not here for a rush. You are here for transformation. You create non-negotiables. Small daily actions you perform whether you are happy, sad, tired, stressed, or bored. They do not move. They do not shift. They are not up for debate. You have a choice. Live by non-negotiables, or live by your latest excuse. Non-negotiables can be simple. 10 minutes of movement every day. 20 minutes of focused work on your main goal. 5 minutes of reading something that sharpens your mind. Too small to fail. Too consistent to ignore. Feelings are weather. Your standards are the climate. Weather changes hour by hour. Climate stays. Some days you feel clear. Some days you feel foggy. Some days you feel strong. Some days you feel weak. That's weather. Your standards don't care. Your system doesn't flinch. Your code doesn't rewrite itself because you're in a mood. Feelings are weather. Your standards are the climate. Repeat it until it becomes obvious. You wake up tired? Weather. You still walk for 10 minutes. You still write for 10 minutes. You still follow your non-negotiables. You get bad news? Weather. You may adjust your load, but you don't abandon your standards. It's not about never feeling low. It's about acting high standard even when you feel low energy. It's not about motivation. It's about discipline. That's the key. Here is what you do, practically. Step 1. Decide 3 non-negotiables. Not 10. Not 20. 3. 3 small actions that, if done daily, move your life forward. For example, physical, 15 minutes of movement. Mental, 10 minutes of reading or learning. Purpose, 20 minutes of focused work on your main goal. Step 2. Schedule them. Put them in time slots. Real times. Not sometime in the evening. 7 a.m., 12:30 p.m., 9 p.m. Step 3. Protect them like appointments with your future. You would not cancel on your boss every day. Stop canceling on yourself. Step 4. Do them no matter how you feel. Tired? Do them. Busy? Do them. Scaled down but done. Unmotivated? Especially then. Motivation is optional. Execution is not. You don't need their permission to live like this. You only need your decision. Every time you follow through when you don't feel like it, you are building mental toughness. You are teaching your brain, our feelings do not run this. Our standards do. Every time you skip because of a mood, you do the opposite. You have a choice, every day, multiple times a day. Follow the weather. Or follow your climate. This is the real work. This is how you stop being driven by motivation and start being driven by discipline. It's not about your lack of willpower. It's about your lack of structure. It's not about you being broken. It's about you being untrained. Training starts now. You build systems. You build standards. You build non-negotiables. Motivation will still come. Great. When it's high, you ride it. When it's low, you ignore it. Either way, the work gets done. That's mental toughness. Doing what needs to be done whether you feel like a champion or you feel like a mess. You've now seen the truth. Motivation is a liar when you treat it like fuel. It's just noise in the background. Useful sometimes. Irrelevant most of the time. You have a choice right after this chapter. Keep chasing motivation like a drug. Or build a system where your plans don't care how you feel. You learn to stop waiting to feel ready. Now you've learned to stop depending on motivation. These are the foundations. You act first. You feel later. But there is still one more enemy you need to face. Your feelings themselves. The moods. The waves. The emotional storms that try to run your life. You are not your feelings, and they are not the boss. Let's make that real. Chapter 3. Your feelings are not the boss. You are not weak because you feel a lot. You are not broken because your emotions are intense. You are human. The problem is not that you feel. The problem is that you obey. You have a choice. Be led by your standards or be led by your moods. That's the key. You feel many things. You are not any of them. There is a world of difference between I feel tired and I am tired. I feel scared and I am scared. I feel lazy and I am lazy. One is a temporary state. The other is an identity. When you say, I am, you surrender. You fuse yourself with the feeling. You make it permanent. You make it powerful. When you say, I feel, you create space. You admit the emotion. You do not become the emotion. Name it, don't obey it. That is your new rule. You don't need their permission to feel. You don't need your own permission to move while feeling. Your feelings do not have to vanish for you to act. Think about people who perform under extreme emotions. The firefighter who runs into the burning building. Do you think they don't feel fear? They feel it. They move anyway. The single mother working 2 jobs. Do you think she doesn't feel exhaustion? She feels it. She keeps going anyway. The soldier on the battlefield. Do you think he doesn't feel terror? He feels it. He follows his training anyway. Name it, don't obey it. I feel fear. I move anyway. I feel tired. I finish anyway. I feel doubt. I execute anyway. It's not about never feeling afraid. It's about discipline in the presence of fear. It's not about being emotionless. It's about emotional discipline. That's the key. Right now, your pattern might be emotional obedience. Your feelings say stop, so you stop. Your feelings say skip it, so you skip it. Your feelings say they might judge you, so you hide. Emotional obedience is destroying your goals. And you feel it. Look at a simple day. You set your alarm for 6 a.m. It goes off. You feel tired. You hit snooze. You plan to go to the gym. You don't feel like it. You stay home. At work, you know you should speak up in the meeting. You feel nervous. You stay silent. You get home. You plan to work on your project for an hour. You feel drained. You scroll on your phone for 2 hours instead. At the end of the day, you feel guilty. You feel ashamed. You say, "Why can't I be consistent?" But you trained this. You trained your brain. When I don't feel like it, I don't do it. You trained emotional obedience. Every decision reinforced a weak identity. Not because you are weak. Because your rules are weak. It's not about your emotions. It's about your discipline. It's not about mood swings. It's about standards. You have a choice. Keep obeying every feeling. Or build a new pattern. I can feel one thing and do another. Imagine that same day lived differently. The alarm goes off at 6 a.m. You feel tired. You say out loud, "I feel tired." You get up anyway. Name it, don't obey it. You planned the gym. You don't feel like it. You say, "I feel resistance." You go anyway, even for just 20 minutes. Name it, don't obey it. At work, you feel nervous about speaking. You say, "I feel anxious." You raise your hand and say one sentence anyway. Name it, don't obey it. You get home. You feel drained. You say, "I feel drained." You sit down and work 20 focused minutes on your project anyway. Name it, don't obey it. Same feelings. Different obedience. Different identity. You start to see yourself as someone who can act while scared, tired, insecure. You start to trust yourself. You start to respect yourself. Emotional obedience kills your self-respect. Emotional discipline builds it. That's the key. So how do you train this? You train your brain to act first, feel later. Most people wait. They wait for the feeling to change. I'll work when I feel inspired. I'll talk when I feel confident. I'll go when I feel ready. You've tried that. You know where it leads. Instead, here is your protocol. Simple. Clear. Non-negotiable. Step 1. Acknowledge the feeling. Don't deny it. Don't numb it. Don't pretend you're a robot. Say it out loud or in your head. I feel tired. I feel scared. I feel angry. I feel insecure. Step 2. Name it, don't obey it. Remind yourself, this is a feeling, not a command. You are allowed to feel it. You are not required to follow it. Step 3. Ask, what are my rules here? Not, what do I feel like doing? What are my standards? You already created your non-negotiables in the last chapter. 10 minutes of movement. 20 minutes on your main goal. Whatever you chose. Your rules decide, not your feelings. Step 4. Decide based on your standards. You say, my rule is I work on my goal every day for 20 minutes. Then you choose to honor that rule. Not because it feels good. Because it's who you are becoming. Step 5. Act quickly. Do not sit there and negotiate. Do not open a debate with your emotions. Take action within 5 seconds. Stand up. Walk. Type. Dial. Feel it fully, then follow your rules, not your feelings. That's the protocol. You have a choice at every moment. To let feelings write your story, or to let your standards write your story. You don't need their permission to live like this. You don't need anyone to agree that your feelings aren't in charge. You decide. It's not about being cold. It's about discipline. It's not about suppressing emotions. It's about directing actions. Feel it fully, then follow your rules, not your feelings. You can cry and still keep moving. You can be afraid and still keep speaking. You can be tired and still keep showing up. That is mental toughness. Not the absence of emotions. The leadership of emotions. Every time you follow your rules instead of your moods, you rewire your brain. You teach yourself, I can carry discomfort and still move forward. You become dangerous in the best way. Unpredictable to your old patterns. You have a choice right now. You can keep seeing your feelings as orders. Or you can start seeing them as information. Data. Not directives. You feel many things. You are not any of them. Name it, don't obey it. Feel it fully, then follow your rules, not your feelings. This is the heart of emotional control. And emotional control is the backbone of mental toughness. Because what stops most people is not pain itself, but the feelings about that pain. You are now learning to act in spite of your emotions. Next, you will learn to use pain itself as a signal to grow, not a signal to stop. You mastered the separation between you and your feelings. Now, let's talk about the doorway you've been avoiding your whole life. Chapter 4. Pain is the door, walk through it. You have been running from the very thing you need. You have been treating pain like an enemy. You have been treating discomfort like a warning to stop. That is why you stay the same. Pain is not always a signal to stop. Many times, pain is a signal that you are at the edge of growth. You have a choice, back away from the edge or step through it. That's the key. First, we need to be clear. Not all pain is equal. There is harmful pain, and there is productive pain. Harmful pain is injury. Sharp stabbing in your knee when you run. Tearing in your shoulder when you lift. Chest pain that feels wrong when you train. That pain says, stop. Something is breaking. You respect that. You back off. But that's not the pain holding you back most of the time. The pain that owns you is productive pain. The burning in your muscles on the last few reps. The boredom of studying when your brain wants your phone. The knot in your stomach right before a hard conversation. That pain is not injury. That pain is effort. That pain is growth. This is the door, not the wall. When you feel your legs burning on the treadmill at minute 18, and your plan was 20, that burn is the door. When your mind wanders on page 6 of reading and you want to quit, that restlessness is the door. When your chest tightens before you tell the truth to someone, that pressure is the door. This is the door, not the wall. Say it again. This is the door, not the wall. You have a choice at that moment. You can tell yourself, it hurts, I stop. Or you can tell yourself, it hurts, I'm close. It's not about avoiding discomfort. It's about discipline in discomfort. That's the key. Everyone wants change. Almost no one wants the price. People love the idea of being in shape. They love the progress photos. They love the compliments. They hate the last 10 painful reps. In the gym, the first 10 reps feel fine. You feel strong. Your mind is clear. Then the burn starts. The weight gets heavy. Your brain says, that's enough. So you rack the weight. You walk away. You convince yourself you worked hard. But understand this. The reps that change you are not the easy ones. The reps that change you are the painful ones. If it doesn't cost you, it won't change you. The same is true in every area. You want a better career. You like imagining the promotion, the money, the respect. But you retreat from the price, extra hours, tough feedback, scary conversations, learning new skills when you're tired. You want a deep relationship. You like imagining trust, intimacy, real connection. But you retreat from the price, honest talks, uncomfortable truths, listening when your ego wants to defend. You want peace of mind. You like the idea of being calm, in control, centered. But you retreat from the price, saying no, setting boundaries, walking away from toxic people, sitting with uncomfortable emotions instead of numbing them. If it doesn't cost you, it won't change you. That's the law. You have a choice. You can keep fantasizing about results, or you can start paying the price. You don't need their permission to pay it. You don't need anyone to agree that your grind is worth it. This is your life. This is your contract with yourself. It's not about talent. It's about discipline. It's not about luck. It's about what you're willing to endure. So, what do you do with pain now? You build a new reflex. Lean in when it hurts. Right now, your reflex is escape. The second it burns, you back off. The second it bores you, you switch to something easy. The second it's awkward, you run. That reflex is killing your growth. You're going to replace it with a new one. When you feel productive pain, you stay in. Just a little longer. Not forever. Long enough to prove who's in charge. Here is the rule. When you want out, stay in for 60 more seconds. You're on the treadmill. You planned 20 minutes. At 17 minutes, your legs are heavy. Your lungs are hot. Your mind starts the speech, "We did enough. Let's stop." That's the moment. That is your door. You have a choice. When you want out, stay in for 60 more seconds. You tell yourself, 1 more minute. Not 10. 1. You study for 30 minutes. At minute 22, your brain is done. You're bored. You want your phone. That boredom is the door. When you want out, stay in for 60 more seconds. Keep reading. Keep solving. 1 more minute. You're in a hard conversation. You feel the urge to shut down, to lie, to say it's fine when it's not. Your chest is tight. Your throat is dry. That pressure is the door. When you want out, stay in for 60 more seconds. Tell the truth. Listen fully. Ask one more honest question. This is how you train your brain. You link pain with progress. You link discomfort with growth. You stop treating it as a stop sign. This is the door, not the wall. You have a choice every time. Obey the old reflex, or practice the new one. Will 60 seconds change your whole life today? Maybe not. But it will change your identity. It will change what you believe about yourself. You start to see yourself as someone who doesn't run at the first sign of discomfort. You start to trust that you can stay in the fire just a little longer. You start to become resilient. If it doesn't cost you, it won't change you. So pay a little every day. In sweat. In effort. In awkwardness. In boredom. It's not about enjoying the pain. It's about understanding the pain. It's about knowing which pain is harmful and which pain is the price of the life you say you want. Harmful pain, sharp, sudden, injuring. You stop. You adjust. You protect yourself. Productive pain, burning, stretching, heavy, restless, emotionally uncomfortable. You lean in. You breathe through it. You stay for 60 more seconds. Feel it. Recognize it. Tell yourself, this is the door, not the wall. That's the key. You don't need the world to cheer when you do this. You don't need applause when you push that extra minute. You don't need anyone to see it. The quiet extra rep. The unseen extra minute. The private hard conversation. These are the bricks of mental toughness. You have a choice after this chapter. You can keep running from every burn, every ache, every awkward moment. Or you can start using them as signals, as doors. Pain is not always punishment. Most of the time, it's the price. And if it doesn't cost you, it won't change you. You just learned how to walk through the door that stops most people. You learned to lean in when it hurts, to stay 1 more minute, to pay the price of growth. This is the core of mental toughness, staying when your old self would leave. But there is one more trap you must confront. The voice that shows up in the middle of pain and whispers, "Let's quit." You've learned to see pain differently. Now you must learn to answer that voice with action. Chapter 5. Never negotiate with quitting. In the last chapter, you learned that pain is the door. Now we deal with the voice that appears right at that door. The voice that says, "Stop. Turn around. You've done enough." You know that voice. You hear it in your workouts. You hear it at your job. You hear it when you study, when you build, when you try to change. Quitting never starts with a shout. Quitting starts as a quiet suggestion. You have a choice: listen to the whisper, or listen to your standard. That's the key. The mind whispers, "You've done enough. You can do it tomorrow. This isn't worth it. No one will know if you stop." Notice when that whisper shows up. It's not at the easy beginning. It's right before the breakthrough. Right when the workout actually starts working. Right when the study session finally sinks in. Right when the hard conversation is about to get real. Think of a runner. They run often. They always stop at 3 miles. Every time. At 2.7 miles, the whisper comes. "We're tired. At least we ran today. This is good enough." Their legs are burning. Their lungs are working. But they are not truly empty. They are simply at their trained stopping point. Their body is capable of more. Their brain is conditioned to stop. They are not hitting exhaustion. They are hitting surrender. That surrender is learned. It's a habit. The brain knows, this is where we quit. You have your own 3-mile mark. The point in a task or a goal where you always fold. Always step back. Always find a reason to exit. You don't need their permission to break that pattern. You don't need a coach to say go. You need to recognize the whisper for what it is, a signal that you are close, not done. It's not about being weak. It's about being untrained. It's not about lack of ability. It's about lack of discipline. That's the key. Here is the truth. Negotiation with your weaker self is always a loss. You think you're being reasonable. You think you're weighing pros and cons. But you are not debating with logic. You are debating with comfort. Comfort is a world-class lawyer. It will convince you you're injured when you're just sore. It will convince you you're too busy when you wasted hours scrolling. It will convince you you deserve a break when you haven't even pushed yet. Look at how it plays out. You plan to go to the gym after work. Work ends. You feel tired. Instead of moving, you start thinking, maybe I should rest today. I did have a long day. I'll go tomorrow and do extra. You've entered the negotiation. You've opened the courtroom. Now every excuse walks in and testifies. By the end of the debate, you're on the couch. Gym bag untouched. Guilt rising. Respect for yourself dropping. You lose energy twice. You lose energy arguing. Then you lose energy hating your own decision. Do not enter the debate, execute the decision. You already decided this morning. You already said, "I'm going to the gym after work." That decision was the real you, the clear you, the disciplined you. The discussion after that is not helpful. It is sabotage. You have a choice. Honor the you that planned, or obey the you that panics. The same thing happens with work. You sit down to do 45 minutes of focus. 10 minutes in, you think, maybe I need a break. Maybe I should check my messages. Maybe I should eat first. Negotiation again. You begin answering each thought. Before you know it, the session is over. Not because you couldn't do it. Because you argued yourself out of it. Do not enter the debate, execute the decision. That's the key. Mental toughness is not about never hearing the quitting voice. It's about refusing to negotiate with it. So how do you refuse? You set hard rules before the pain shows up. Pre-commitment. You decide in advance. You decide in detail. You decide when you are calm, not when you are suffering. You don't walk into the gym and see how you feel. You say, "Today I'm doing 4 sets of 10. And you do 4 sets of 10. You don't sit down to study and see what happens. You say, "I'm working for 30 minutes. And you work for 30 minutes. You don't wake up and see if you feel like running. You say, "On Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I run 3 miles. and you run 3 miles. Decide once, honor it daily. That's the core of mental toughness. You don't remake the decision in the moment. You execute the decision you already made. You have a choice. Live by decisions or live by impulses. Only one leads to strength. It's not about your mood swings. It's about your rules. It's not about feeling fragile. It's about building a code. Here is how you do it, practically. Step 1. Pick your key areas. Training, work or study. Your main personal project. Step 2. Set clear, measurable rules. Not vague hope. Real numbers. I do 4 workouts per week, minimum. When I train, I finish the plan on the paper. I work on my main project 25 minutes every weekday. Step 3. Write them down. On paper. On your wall. In your phone. Make them real. Step 4. When the moment comes, you follow the rule. Not the feeling. Not the negotiation. The rule. You will hear the whisper. Skip today. Do less. Cut it short. Do not enter the debate. Execute the decision. If your rule is 25 minutes, and at minute 18 your brain says, "We're done," you answer with action. You keep working. You let the clock, not your comfort, decide. Decide once, honor it daily. You don't need their permission to live by a code. You don't need anyone to understand why you are so strict with yourself. This is about self-respect. Every time you honor a pre-made decision, you build trust with yourself. Every time you break it for comfort, you weaken that trust. You have a choice. Become someone whose word means something. Or remain someone whose promises collapse at the first sign of pain. It's not about being perfect. It's about discipline. It's about consistency. There are only 2 times you break a pre-commitment. Real injury. Real emergency. Not boredom. Not laziness. Not "I don't feel like it." If you are truly sick, adjust. If there is a true crisis, adjust. Otherwise, you do what you said. Decide once, honor it daily. That's the key. Never forget this. The quiet suggestion to quit will always show up. You cannot delete that voice. But you can drown it out with action. You train yourself. Pain is the door. You train yourself. When quitting whispers, "I don't answer." You train yourself. Decisions rule, not moods. This is mental toughness in practice. Not theory. Not inspiration. Execution. You've now learned to walk through pain and to stop negotiating with the urge to quit. You are building a mind that finishes what it starts. Now we take that discipline and apply it to something even more important, your daily habits. Not what you do on great days, but what you do on the worst ones. You mastered the art of not quitting in the moment. Now, let's build a life that holds up even when everything goes wrong. Chapter 6. Build habits that survive your worst days. Anyone can be disciplined on a good day. You slept well. You're in a good mood. Nothing went wrong. Of course you showed up. That doesn't impress me. And it shouldn't impress you. Your habits are only as strong as they are on your bad days. That's the test. That's where mental toughness is exposed. You have a choice. Build habits that only work when life is pretty, or build habits that survive chaos, fatigue, sickness, and stress. That's the key. Think about your typical pattern. You say, "I'm getting back on track." You wake up early, crush a workout, eat clean, do deep work. You feel unstoppable. Then life hits. You get a bad night's sleep. The kids are sick. Extra work drops on your lap. Someone needs you. Your schedule explodes. Suddenly, all those new habits vanish. You say, "I'll restart when things calm down." But they never really calm down, do they? Your life isn't built on perfect days. Your life is built on messy, unpredictable, inconvenient days. So your habits must survive those days, or they mean nothing. Watch a serious parent. They work a full-time job. They take care of their kids. They deal with school, meals, emotions, everything. They are exhausted. But the ones who grow anyway find a way. They don't have 2 free hours. They carve out 20 minutes. Maybe it's at 5:30 a.m. before the house wakes up. Maybe it's 9:30 p.m. when the house finally quiets down. They do a 20-minute workout in the living room. Or they study for 20 minutes for a certification. Or they read for 20 minutes to grow their mind. Not perfect. Not glamorous. But consistent. That is real discipline. That is real toughness. It's not about having endless time. It's about discipline with the time you actually have. It's not about your ideal schedule. It's about your real schedule. You have a choice. Keep waiting for the perfect conditions, or build habits that can live in the chaos you really live in. That's the key. So how do you do that? You design minimums that you never break. Most people design their habits like this: huge, impressive, unrealistic. Every day I'm going to work out for an hour, meal prep, journal, meditate, and read for 60 minutes. They last 3 days. Then life hits. Then everything collapses. They think the problem is motivation. It's not. It's the design. You need a floor, not a fantasy. A floor, not a ceiling. A small, doable version of your habit that you hit no matter what. Low bar, zero excuses. That's the motto. Maybe on a good day you crush an hour at the gym. On a bad day, your minimum is 10 push-ups and a 10-minute walk. Maybe on a good day you write for 90 minutes. On a bad day, your minimum is 5 minutes of writing. Maybe on a good day you read 30 pages. On a bad day, your minimum is 2 pages. Low bar, zero excuses. You don't need their permission to do something small. You don't need anyone to applaud your 5-minute session. You do it because it keeps the habit alive. It's not about intensity. It's about discipline. It's not about impressing people. It's about not lying to yourself. You have a choice. You can keep chasing perfect days and quitting when you can't reach them. Or you can lower the bar so you always step over it. This is not weakness. This is strategy. Here's how you set your minimums. Step 1. Pick your key habits. Physical. Mental. Purpose. For example, physical, exercise. Mental, reading or learning. Purpose, work on your main goal or craft. Step 2. Set your floor. Ask, what is the smallest version of this that I can do on my worst day? Physical, 10 minutes of movement. Mental, 2 pages or 5 minutes of learning. Purpose, 10 to 15 minutes of focused work. Write this down. On my worst day, I still do this. Low bar, zero excuses. On good days, you do more. Great. But the win is not the maximum. The win is hitting the minimum every single day. When your schedule explodes, you still walk. When your mood collapses, you still read 1 page. When your energy crashes, you still do 10 minutes of work. That keeps the habit alive. That keeps your identity intact. Because what matters most is not what you do once. It's what you do again and again. That's where the next piece comes in. Protect the chain at all costs. Every time you complete your habit, you add a link to the chain. You mark an X on the calendar. You prove to yourself, I showed up again. 1 day, 2 days, 5 days, 10 days. The chain grows. Now understand this. Momentum is fragile. It's powerful when it's running, but it's easy to break. Missing once is human. Missing twice is a pattern. Missing 3 times is a slide back into your old self. So you live by a simple rule: never miss twice. You have a choice. You can let 1 bad day become a bad week. Or you can cut it off at 1. You get sick. You miss a workout. Fine. Human. No shame. But the next day, as soon as you can, you hit your minimum. Not to punish yourself. To protect the chain. The streak is sacred. Protect the streak. You stay late at work and miss your reading time. Fine. Life happens. But tomorrow, even if you're tired, you read your 2 pages. The streak is sacred. Protect the streak. You have a chaotic family day and miss your 20 minutes on your project. Fine. But the very next day, even if it's only 10 minutes, you sit down and work. The streak is sacred. Protect the streak. You don't need perfection. You need continuity. You need to see yourself as someone who returns. Again and again. It's not about never falling. It's about never staying down. It's not about flawless streaks. It's about fierce comebacks. So do this. Get a simple calendar. Physical or digital. Every day you hit your minimum on a habit, mark it. One big X. One link in the chain. Watch it grow. Let it matter to you. Because this is not about childish gold stars. This is about identity. Every X is you saying, I kept my word. Every X is you proving, I show up even on bad days. The streak is sacred. Protect the streak. You have a choice tonight, tomorrow, every day. When things go wrong, do you disappear? Or do you adapt, shrink the habit, and still show up? Low bar, zero excuses. Never miss twice. Protect the streak. It's not about your lack of time. It's about your lack of minimums. It's not about your chaotic life. It's about your discipline inside that chaos. That's the key. You are building habits that survive your worst days. That means your progress no longer collapses every time life punches you. That means your identity no longer depends on perfect conditions. This is mental toughness as a lifestyle. Not just in big heroic moments, but in small daily choices. You've learned to stay in the pain. You've learned to stop negotiating with quitting. You've learned to keep your habits alive when everything says, not today. Now there is another signal you've been misreading your whole life. Fear. You think it means stop. But used correctly, it means go. You built habits that hold under chaos. Now it's time to walk straight into the things that scare you. Chapter 7. Fear means go, not stop. You've learned how to hold the line on bad days. You've learned how to stay when your old self would quit. Now we confront one of the biggest liars in your life. Fear. You have been treating fear as a red light. You feel it and you slam the brakes. You feel it and you walk away. That is backwards. You have a choice. Keep letting fear control your direction, or turn fear into a compass. That's the key. Fear is a compass pointing at what matters. Think about it. What do you fear most right now? The difficult conversation you keep avoiding. The public speaking you keep dodging. The project you keep preparing for but never launch. The breakup you know you need. The move you know would stretch you. Those are not random. You fear them because they would change your life. You fear them because they would grow you. If it scares you and grows you, walk toward it. Say that again. If it scares you and grows you, walk toward it. You are afraid to talk to your boss about a promotion. Why? Because that conversation matters. It could change your money. It could change your role. It could change your future. You are afraid to post your work online. Why? Because that visibility matters. It could lead to clients, criticism, and growth. You are afraid to set a boundary with a toxic friend or family member. Why? Because that boundary matters. It could give you peace. It could change how you're treated. If it scares you and grows you, walk toward it. I'm not talking about stupid fear. I'm not talking about running into traffic or doing reckless things for a thrill. I'm talking about psychological fear. Social fear. Fear of embarrassment, rejection, judgment, unknown outcomes. That fear is a compass. It points straight at the next version of you. You have a choice. Interpret fear as danger, run, or interpret fear as meaning, move. That's the key. Now hear this clearly. You've survived 100% of your fears so far. Look back at your life. Think of the exams you were sure you would fail. You were terrified. Your stomach hurt. You thought, if I fail this, it's over. You sat the exam. Maybe you passed. Maybe you didn't. Either way, you lived. You adapted. Life went on. Fear predicted disaster. Reality delivered growth. Think of the interviews you were scared of. Heart racing. Hands sweating. You considered canceling. You went anyway. Maybe you got the job. Maybe you didn't. But you learned how to handle pressure. You learned something about yourself. Fear predicted disaster. Reality delivered growth. Think of the relationships you were afraid to start. Maybe they'll reject me. Maybe I'll get hurt. You took the risk. You learned intimacy. You learned communication. You learned heartbreak and healing. Or think of the breakup you delayed because you feared being alone. You finally did it. It hurt. But you rebuilt. You found strength you didn't know you had. Fear predicted disaster. Reality delivered growth. You have a long history of fear screaming, "You won't survive this," and then you did. Over and over. Fear is not reliable. Fear is not a prophet. Fear is a loud alarm system with no volume control. It's like an overprotective bodyguard. It sees every unknown as a threat. It screams at every opportunity. It's wrong most of the time. You have a choice: believe fear like it's truth, or treat fear like it's noise. It's not about being fearless. It's about discipline in the presence of fear. That's the key. So what do you do with fear now? You turn it into a training tool. Stop waiting for fear to disappear. Stop waiting to feel ready. Stop praying for courage to magically show up. You train it. Just like a muscle. Just like endurance. How? Through controlled fear exposure. You deliberately, repeatedly, and gradually move toward the things that scare you. Not all at once. Not recklessly. Step by step. See fear, say go. That's your new command. You see a task that makes your stomach drop. You see an opportunity that makes your heart pound. You see a conversation that makes your chest tighten. Old you, back away. New you, see fear, say go. You don't need their permission to live like this. You don't need your friends to understand why you're pushing yourself. You don't need the world to approve your risks. It's not about having no fear. It's about discipline in the direction of fear. Here's how you build this as a system. Step 1. Make a fear list. Write down 10 things that scare you but would clearly grow you. Examples. Starting a YouTube channel. Posting your work online. Asking your boss for feedback. Making a sales call. Saying no to a toxic person. Signing up for a class. Speaking up in a meeting. Be honest. If it scares you and grows you, it goes on the list. Step 2. Rank them from least scary to most scary. Create a ladder. The small social risk at the bottom. The biggest leap at the top. Step 3. Start at the bottom of the ladder. Controlled exposure. One small scary action every day. Make one uncomfortable call. Ask one honest question. Post one piece of content. Say no once when you'd normally say yes. See fear, say go. Your heart will race. Your hands may shake. Good. That means you are in the training zone. You are not trying to feel safe. You are teaching your brain that you can act while afraid. Do this daily. Tiny doses of fear. Tiny acts of courage. What happens over time? You desensitize. The thing that once felt impossible now feels normal. The ladder you once feared becomes your baseline. You prove to yourself, I can do scary things and live. You gather evidence that fear is not a stop sign. Fear predicted disaster. Reality delivered growth. This is how you shape a new reflex. Right now your reflex is, I feel fear, I freeze. You are building a new one, I feel fear, I move. You have a choice. Sit around analyzing your fears, or walk into them one small step at a time. It's not about bravado. It's about discipline. It's not about being loud. It's about quietly doing the thing anyway. See fear, say go. When your brain shouts, don't send that email, you send it. When your brain says, don't raise your hand, you raise it. When your brain says, don't ask that question, you ask it. You're not reckless. You're deliberate. You're training. Every time you move toward fear, you take its power. Every time you run from fear, you feed it. You have been feeding your fears for years. It's time to starve them. You don't need their permission to stop being ruled by fear. You just need one hard decision. From now on, if it scares me and grows me, I walk toward it. If it scares you and grows you, walk toward it. Fear predicted disaster. Reality delivered growth. See fear, say go. Repeat it. Drill it. Live it. This is emotional control in action. This is mental toughness in the real world. You are no longer a prisoner of your alarms. You are the one who decides where you go and what you do. You just learned to turn fear from a jailer into a compass, from a stop sign into a green light, from an enemy into a training partner. Now we go one level deeper. Because fear is not the only thing you've misjudged. You've also been misreading failure, treating practice like proof that you're not good enough. You mastered using fear as a signal to move. Now, let's learn how to treat every setback as rehearsal, not a verdict. Chapter 8. Treat failure like a rehearsal, not a funeral. You've been taught to treat failure like a death, like an ending, like proof that you're not good enough. That belief is killing your progress. Failure is not a funeral. Failure is rehearsal. Failure is a rough draft. Failure is data. You have a choice: see failure as a verdict, or see failure as feedback. That's the key. Most so-called failures are just first attempts. First businesses. First relationships. First workouts. First speeches. But you interpret them as final judgments on your worth. I failed, so I am a failure. That's the lie. Failure only becomes permanent when you stop. Read that again. Failure only becomes permanent when you stop. Think about every person you admire. Authors, entrepreneurs, artists, athletes. Behind every overnight success is a long list of flops. The author whose book you love? Rejections. Dozens. Publishers said, no one will read this. They kept sending it anyway. The entrepreneur you follow? They launched products that bombed. They invested in ideas that crashed. They had debt. They had doubt. They kept building anyway. Businesses closed. Ideas failed. They learned. They adjusted. They tried again. You didn't fail. You learned the wrong way to do it. That's all. You have a choice. Turn around and say, see, I knew I was worthless. Or look at the wreckage and say, now I know one way that doesn't work. It's not about failure. It's about discipline. It's not about being perfect. It's about refusing to stop. Failure is not destiny. Failure is data. That's the key. But here's the real trap. Shame around failure is stealing your repetitions. You don't just fail. You feel embarrassed. You feel exposed. You feel like everyone is watching. You tell yourself stories. They're laughing at me. They think I'm stupid. They'll never forget this. So you stop trying. You post your first video. 10 views. 2 likes. No comments. You feel humiliated. You delete it. You never post again. You didn't fail. You learned the wrong way to do it. But shame turned one failed attempt into a permanent silence. You ask someone out. They say no. You feel crushed. You decide, I'm just not that kind of person. You stop putting yourself out there. You didn't fail. You learned the wrong way to do it. But ego made you run from the next chance. You launch a small business. It loses money. People doubt you. You feel foolish. You decide, I guess I'm not an entrepreneur. You didn't fail. You learned the wrong way to do it. But embarrassment stopped you from trying again with better information. Listen carefully. Your shame is robbing you of your reps. Your ego is robbing you of your practice. It's not about your talent. It's about your tolerance for looking like a beginner. It's not about your potential. It's about your discipline to keep going when you feel stupid. You have a choice: protect your image or build your skill. You cannot do both. Mental toughness is the ability to look bad at something and keep doing it anyway. To be willing to be the worst in the room while you learn. To stand in the discomfort of criticism and keep swinging. You don't need their permission to keep trying. You don't need your family to approve your next attempt. You don't need your friends to understand your persistence. You didn't fail, you learned the wrong way to do it. Say it again. You didn't fail, you learned the wrong way to do it. Every attempt is information. Every mistake is a map. If you use it. So let's flip the script. Instead of avoiding failure, you're going to schedule it. You're going to build a failure quota. Yes. You're going to aim to fail. On purpose. Why? Because when failure becomes expected, it loses its power. Because when you chase attempts, you stop obsessing over any single outcome. Because repetition beats perfection. You have a choice: hide from failure and stay the same, or collect failure and grow. That's the key. Here's how you do it. Pick an area you want to grow in. Sales, dating, social skills, content creation, job opportunities. Now set a failure quota. A target number of no's, rejections, or flops you will collect. For example, 50 rejections on job applications. 100 cold calls with people hanging up, not answering, or saying no. 30 pieces of content posted, regardless of views. 20 presentations or meetings where you risk looking unpolished. Your goal is not one perfect yes. Your goal is 50 honest tries. Collect failures, collect feedback, collect power. You send out your resume. No response. That's one. Not a funeral. A tally. You make a sales call. They say no. That's one. Not proof you're terrible. Proof you're training. You post a video. It flops. That's one. Not a reason to stop. A rep in your quota. Collect failures. Collect feedback. Collect power. You're still paying attention. You're not blindly repeating the same mistake. You're learning. You're tweaking. You're adjusting your approach. But you are not stopping. You have a number to hit. You are a professional in training. Professionals accumulate massive volume. Amateurs try once and cry. It's not about being rejected. It's about discipline in the face of rejection. It's not about the no. It's about who you become after 50 of them. Collect failures. Collect feedback. Collect power. Here's the process. Step 1. Define your quota. Write it: I will collect 50 rejections in the next 90 days. Or I will post 30 times this month, no matter the views. Step 2. Track it visibly. Use a chart, a list, a whiteboard. Every rejection, every flop, every missed shot gets a check mark. Step 3. After each failure, ask one question. What did I learn? Write one sentence. Then move on. Step 4. Do not stop until the quota is hit. Not when you feel discouraged. Not when it's awkward. Not when others question you. Decide once, honor it daily. That same rule applies here. You have a choice. Let failure break your identity, or let failure build your identity. You didn't fail, you learned the wrong way to do it. Now go learn another way. And another. And another. This is mental toughness. You keep walking onto the field after losses. You keep getting up after hits. You keep rehearsing until the skill catches up. Failure is not the enemy. Quitting is. Hiding is. Letting shame freeze you is. You don't need their permission to come back stronger. You don't need anyone to clap for your attempts. Your repetitions are your responsibility. Treat every failure like a rehearsal, not a funeral. Use it. Study it. Move again. Collect failures. Collect feedback. Collect power. That's the key. You've now redefined fear and failure. You no longer stop when you're scared. You no longer die when you fall short. You act, you learn, you act again. But there is one more force trying to steal your progress. It's not fear. It's not pain. It's not failure. It's distraction. Noise. 1,000 little leaks in your attention that drain your power. You mastered failing forward. Now let's protect the fuel that makes all of this possible, your focus. Chapter 9. Protect your focus with aggression. You can be tough in the gym. You can be tough in a crisis. But if your mind is scattered all day, your toughness leaks out. Focus is your power source. Distraction is the enemy of toughness. You have a choice: live like everyone else with a fried, scattered brain, or protect your focus with aggression. That's the key. Right now, your attention is under attack. Notifications, messages, emails, social media, noise. You are being trained to be impulsive, not disciplined. Every time you switch from one app to another, one task to another, you weaken your ability to stay with hard things. You make your brain more restless. You make effort feel heavier. You call it a short attention span. Stop that. It's not about your broken brain. It's about your undisciplined environment. It's not about your flaw. It's about your discipline. Picture two versions of you trying to work. Version 1. You sit down to do 30 minutes of focused work. Your phone is on the desk. Notifications are on. Email is open in another tab. Social media is one click away. You write one sentence. Your phone lights up. You glance. You lose your place. You answer one message. Then you scroll for just a second. Now it's 5 minutes. Back to work. You read the same paragraph 3 times. You check email. Nothing urgent. Back to work. Brain is foggy. You're annoyed. You decide, I just can't focus today. But that's not true. You never gave your brain a chance. Version 2. You sit down for the same 30 minutes. You put your phone in another room. Notifications off. Email closed. Only one tab open. You set a timer. You say, until this goes off, this is all I do. The first few minutes are rough. Your brain craves a hit of distraction. You ride it out. At minute 10, your mind finally locks in. By minute 25, you are deep. You finish 30 minutes of real, undiluted effort. Same brain. Different environment. Different result. You have a choice. Make your life distraction-friendly or discipline-friendly. Distraction is the enemy of toughness because it makes effort feel unbearable. If you can't tolerate sitting with one difficult task, you will run from anything hard. It's not about willpower alone. It's about designing your world. That's the key. You must become ruthless about your environment. Stop pretending you're stronger than your temptations. You aren't. I'm not. No one is. Strong people don't trust themselves around triggers. Strong people remove triggers. Make it hard to be weak, easy to be strong. That is your new job. Physically, this means you clear your space. A messy desk full of random stuff? That's distraction. Clear it. Your phone in front of you while you're working? That's distraction. Move it. TV on in the background while you study? That's distraction. Turn it off. Digitally, this means you turn off what owns you. Notifications for every app? Off. Email alerts popping every few minutes? Off. Social media logged in on your work device? Log out. Make it hard to be weak, easy to be strong. If you have to stand up and walk to another room to grab your phone, you've added friction to your weakness. If you have to manually log into a site you waste time on, you've added friction to your distraction. You don't need their permission to do this. You don't need to announce a digital detox to the world. Silently change your settings. Silently clear your space. Silently build an environment that helps you win. It's not about your lack of focus. It's about your lack of boundaries. It's not about your flaw. It's about your discipline. You also must be ruthless with people. The coworker who always wants to chat when you're trying to work. The friend who constantly drags you into drama. The family member who calls for every tiny thing in the middle of your focus time. Set boundaries. Say, I can't talk right now, I'm working. I'll call you later. Close your door. Put on headphones. Be unavailable during your deep work blocks. Make it hard to be weak, easy to be strong. You have a choice. Let everyone else own your time. Or own it yourself. Now, once your environment is cleaned up, you train focus like a muscle. You don't just hope to focus. You practice. Deep work is a mental workout. It will feel heavy at first. Good. That's training. Here is your simple formula. 1 task. 1 block. No escape. 1 task. Choose the thing that actually matters. Not busy work. Not fake productivity. The real work, the project, the studying, the writing, the planning, the building. 1 block. Choose a specific time window. 20 minutes. 25 minutes. 40 minutes. Not 3 hours at first. Start small. Earn bigger. No escape. Once the block starts, you stay. You don't switch tasks. You don't check your phone. You don't open new tabs, just for a second. 1 task. 1 block. No escape. Set a timer. Tell yourself, until this goes off, my only job is to stay here. Your mind will rebel. It will send you urges. Check your phone. Look up something. Get a snack. Notice the urge. Don't obey it. Return to the task. The first block may feel miserable. You will want out. Good. That means you're untrained. And training has begun. Over time, you lengthen the blocks. 20 minutes becomes 30. 30 becomes 45. 45 becomes 60. Just like adding weight in the gym, you add minutes of honest focus. 1 task. 1 block. No escape. You have a choice. Keep living in a shallow focus haze, or do the work that actually moves your life. Schedule 1 to 3 deep work blocks a day. Even 1 block of 25 minutes is more than many people give themselves. Make it a non-negotiable. This is where your goals get built. This is where you separate yourself. Remember, distraction makes your brain weaker and your feelings louder. Focus makes your brain stronger and your feelings quieter. It's not about loving focus. It's about discipline with focus. It's not about being naturally organized. It's about forcefully shaping your environment. Make it hard to be weak, easy to be strong. 1 task. 1 block. No escape. You don't need their permission to live like this. You don't need anyone to understand why you're suddenly hard to reach. You are not here to be constantly available. You are here to build something. Protecting your focus is protecting your future. Protecting your focus is protecting your mental toughness. You've now removed some of the biggest leaks in your power. You've made distraction your enemy and focus your training ground. But one more piece remains. You can have systems. You can have habits. You can have focus. When pressure hits, when it really hurts, your behavior will still default to who you believe you are. Your identity. Your personal code. You mastered your environment. Now we go to the deepest level, the story you tell yourself about you. Chapter 10. Decide who you are when it hurts. We've built the systems. We've built the habits. We've trained your response to fear, to pain, to failure, to distraction. But when it really hurts, when everything is on fire, you will not rise to your goals. You will fall to your identity. You don't do what you hope you'll do. You do what you believe someone like you does. You act like the person you believe you are. That's the key. You have a choice. Keep calling yourself weak, lazy, inconsistent, or decide who you are on purpose. Identity beats willpower. If you believe, I'm just not a disciplined person, then every tough moment confirms it. You're tired. You think, see? This is who I am. You quit. If you believe, I am disciplined, the same moment hits differently. You're tired. You think, this is when my identity shows up. You push. Same pain. Different identity. Different outcome. You act like the person you believe you are. I try to be disciplined is weak. I am disciplined is a standard. I hope I don't quit is weak. I don't quit when it hurts is a standard. You don't need their permission to change how you speak about yourself. You don't need anyone to agree with your new identity. You decide. It's not about your past failures. It's about your present discipline. It's not about your old story. It's about the code you choose now. So what is that code? It's simple, direct, brutal, clear. Write your code and live by it. A personal code is a few sentences that define how you respond to fatigue, fear, failure, and temptation. Not paragraphs. Not poetry. Commands. When I want to quit, I go 10% more. When I'm afraid, I move toward the fear, not away from it. When I fail, I analyze, adjust, and try again. When I'm tired, I hit my minimums, no matter what. When I'm tempted to distract myself, I finish my block first. You act like the person you believe you are. So write down who that person is. This is not fantasy. This is programming. You are installing rules into your own mind. You have a choice. Let the world write your code, or write it yourself. Right now your unspoken code might be: when it's hard, I stop. When I'm scared, I hide. When I'm tired, I skip. When I fail, I disappear. You never wrote that down. You trained it by repetition. Now you are going to overwrite it. On purpose. Take a piece of paper. Write 4 headings. Fatigue. Fear. Failure. Temptation. Under fatigue, write 1 sentence. When I'm tired, I still do something. I hit my minimums. Under fear, write 1 sentence. When I feel fear and I know it will grow me, I move toward it. Under failure, 1 sentence. When I fail, I don't disappear. I review, learn, and repeat. Under temptation, 1 sentence. When I want to escape into distraction, I finish my 1 block first. This is your code. Not mine. Yours. You don't need their permission to have a personal code. You don't need to post it online. You don't need applause. You need to read it. Every day. You need to speak it. You need to follow it when it's easy, so it's there when it's hard. It's not about sounding tough. It's about discipline when it counts. That's the key. Say it. When I want to quit, I go 10% more. Out loud. Say it again. When I want to quit, I go 10% more. You are teaching your nervous system what to do when that urge hits. You are preloading the response. And that leads to the last piece. Make the decision now, not when it hurts. When you are exhausted, flooded with emotion, under pressure, it is not the time to decide who you are. It is the time to execute who you decided to be. True mental toughness is pre-deciding your response. You don't wait until the storm to build the roof. You build it before. You have a choice. Decide in pain or decide in peace. Only one works. Right now, calm, listening to this, you can think clearly. Use that. Decide. When my body screams stop, I go 10% more. When fear shouts, I still move. When failure hits, I come back. When distraction calls, I protect my focus. You act like the person you believe you are. So you create a simple script for the hardest moments. When fatigue hits, your script is, I'm tired, but my minimums are non-negotiable. When fear hits, your script is, if it scares me and grows me, I walk toward it. When failure hits, your script is, I didn't fail, I learned the wrong way to do it. Now I adjust. When temptation hits, your script is, 1 task, 1 block, no escape. You are not guessing anymore. You are not improvising in emergencies. You are executing a code. You don't need their permission to live by this code. You don't need anyone to understand why you won't quit, why you won't slack, why you won't drift. This is not about perfection. It's about discipline. It's not about never hurting. It's about who you are when it hurts. So decide that now. Ask yourself, when it hurts, who am I? When it hurts, what do I do? Most people never answer that. So when pain shows up, they default to comfort. They default to quitting. They default to their weakest pattern. You won't. Because you are going to repeat this until it is burned in. When it hurts, I already know who I am. Say it. When it hurts, I already know who I am. Who? I am disciplined. I am the kind of person who finishes. I am the kind of person who goes 10% more when I want to quit. I am the kind of person who can feel fear, pain, and doubt, and still move. You act like the person you believe you are. So believe it on purpose. When it hurts, I already know who I am. Not a victim of my emotions. Not a slave to my history. Not a puppet pulled by motivation. I am the one who decides. I am the one who acts. I am the one who keeps going when I want to stop. You have a choice as you finish this chapter. Treat these words like hype and go back to your default identity. Or turn them into a code and live differently from this day forward. Write your code. Read your code. Live your code. Because mental toughness is not an accident. It is a decision about who you are when it hurts. When it hurts, I already know who I am. You've built readiness without waiting for it. You've stopped depending on motivation. You've taken control of your feelings, your pain, your quitting point, your habits, your fear, your failure, your focus, and now your identity. You are not the same person who pressed play on this audiobook. Now it's time to bring it all together and issue one final challenge. You decided who you are. Now you must prove it. You have heard the truth. Motivation is fragile. Feelings are unstable. Comfort is loud. Mental toughness is simple. Do what you said you would do, especially when you no longer feel like doing it. You learned to stop waiting to feel ready. You learned that motivation lies, that your feelings are not the boss, that pain is the door, not the wall. You learned never to negotiate with quitting, to build habits that survive your worst days, to treat fear as a compass and failure as rehearsal. You learned to protect your focus with aggression and to decide who you are when it hurts. Now the question is not do you understand? The question is will you execute? When this audiobook ends, you have one job. Pick one commitment you have been avoiding, one task, one conversation, one workout, one step, and do it within the next 5 minutes. Not later. Not tomorrow. Not when you feel like it. Your new identity is built in this next decision. You either go back to the old pattern of stopping when it's hard, or you become the person who keeps going when you want to quit. Make the decision. Then prove it, right now. Thank you for listening to this audiobook all the way to the end. If this video helped you or gave you even one useful idea, don't keep it to yourself. Support the channel by hitting the like button, subscribing, and turning on the notification bell so you don't miss any of our new content on self-development and mental toughness. Your support is what tells us, keep going. Thank you for being here.